Can you dye relaxed hair? I hear so many conflicting opinions about this, but as somebody who officially dyes her relaxed hair, I'm going to give you the skinny on whether or not you should be doing it. But before we get started, I would love for you guys to subscribe to my channel. I'm also on TikTok too, so if you could follow me there and show a sis a little support, I would love that so much. Okay, so I started coloring my relaxed hair during the pandemic, about 2 years ago. As a 40-something lady, I started to get so many grays that were concentrated in the crown of my head. I'm actually due for a color, which I'll be doing during my next relaxer. I hear lots of conflicting opinions about whether or not you should be combining a color treatment with a relaxer, and I'm here to clear all of this up. So my grays are admittedly not too bad, but I do have a lot of long gray ones throughout my hair, and just a personal preference of mine, I like my uniformly black hair, but I don't have it dyed jet black. I have it dyed an espresso color. It's like a black coffee color, so that when I go outside, it looks like a really rich espresso brown, which I believe gives a lot of depth and a lot of beauty and personality to my hair. Sorry, I'm boiling. I'm gonna take this off. I'm dying here. I tell ya, hot flashes are a thing. So black hair is typically more kinky and coarse than other types of hair. It is already prone to dryness and damage. When you then add in relaxers to that whole mix and then color treatments, you can really set yourself up for failure and just really, really damaged hair. The texture of black hair can really impact the color process and results involved in dyeing and preserving your hair's integrity. Black hair naturally tends to be so dry and fragile already, so if you're gonna dye your hair, you gotta take it slow. So when I went to my stylist, Gloria, and inquired on what options I have for treating my grays, for covering my grays, she immediately suggested semi-permanent color. So semi-permanent color is deposited onto my hair. She usually just does the new growth only. She won't dye already dyed hair because that just strains my already relaxed and colored hair. She just colors what's needed. You also don't want to be continually depositing hair color on your ends because that leads to dryness, breakage, split ends, you know the whole deal. So I'm going to be sharing with you the tips that I apply to my own hair care routine, tips that you guys should be considering before you go ahead and do a color process, or these are little tweaks that you can already apply to your existing hair care routine so that future color treatments aren't so harsh on your hair. So tip number 1, you may want to wait about 3 weeks after your relaxer to actually get your hair colored. This gives your hair a little time to really fully benefit from that fresh relaxer, and you're not overloading your hair all at once. Tip number 2, get your hair to the healthiest state possible before you start coloring. If you have split ends, get a good haircut, and be honest with yourself. If the split ends are running up your hair and you have, let's say, like a few inches of really dry frizzy hair, you may want to just get rid of that. Coloring your already relaxed hair will promote more dryness, brittleness, fragility, and yeah, it's just sort of a recipe for disaster, so get rid of those dead ends. And if you aren't already, start deep conditioning your hair every single time you wash your hair. That is my main rule of thumb. I would attribute regular weekly deep conditioning to how I managed to retain 8 inches of length over the past 1.5 to 2 years. Tip number 2, leave the hair coloring to the pros. I am not a fan of that box hair dye that you get at drugstores. I'm not coming down on anybody who does that. I know that coloring your hair, all of these in-salon treatments can really add up, can really be expensive right off the bat. So I get it. I get why people go to the drugstore and use these little boxes of hair damage. If you don't know what you're doing, if you go ahead and, choose some crazy color like platinum blonde, you are going to break off your hair. Treat yourself. Save up if you have to. Go get a good consultation with a hairstylist you trust and leave the hair coloring to him or her. They are trained, they are professionals, they know what they're doing. Tip number 3, or is it tip number 4? Consider any previous color you already have. You don't want to be layering your hair color on top of each other because it's going to alter the final look. As harsh as this is, you may have to strip out that old color and have your desired color redeposited into your hair. If you want a brilliant red or a bright blue, you don't want to be mixing colors, obviously, because you want to retain the integrity of that color. But keep in mind, stripping color out of your hair is a pretty heavy-duty process. You have to be, all about taking great care of your hair. You have got to make solid hair care your full-time job, or you will damage your hair. So I'm gonna say this is tip number 4. I can't remember where I am. Real good, Dom. Okay, tip number 4, really ramp up the hydration. I'm just going to keep repeating this. I'm just going to keep hammering this into your heads. Deep conditioning is key here. Moisturizing and sealing your hair regularly. I know that a lot of you guys don't like the Luster's S-Curl moisturizer that I personally use for my own moisturizing and sealing routine, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys to do a little trial and error on your own to find a moisturizer that really works for you. I use moisturizing and sealing on the days where I do wash and go. So I'll wash and deep condition my hair, do my detangling, do my leave-in conditioners, all that jazz, and then just whip my hair into a bun. I am not worried about ruining a flat ironed look. So that's why I'll use the wet and sort of heavy Luster's S-Curl curl activating moisturizer and then seal it with Whey hair oil. That's my favorite hair oil. You can also use nutrient-rich oils such as avocado oil or coconut oil to seal your hair. They are greasier and heavier, so make sure that you're wrapping your hair at night so that you don't ruin your sheets and your pillowcases. But moisturizing and sealing is key. I don't care what you guys use, just make sure that you incorporate that into your regular hair care routine. What I like to do right after a color treatment and a relaxer is doing a little protein treatment. My hair is very protein sensitive, so I won't use heavy duty protein laden deep conditioners. I'll use something with, let's say, a vegetable or food based protein. If you look at the list of ingredients on conditioners, hair masks, deep conditioners, you can see things like hydrolyzed oat protein, hydrolyzed wheat protein, hydrolyzed silk protein, like all of these things that have a natural element to it are a bit more gentle on your hair than just plain old hydrolyzed proteins that you'll see in a lot of conditioners. What I notice with using too many protein-laden products is that your hair gets really crunchy, dry, flat, limp, lifeless, even mushy. That's when you'll need to use a clarifying shampoo to strip all of that product away, and you'll have to keep washing it with a clarifying shampoo until that nasty feeling and look goes away. So essentially, all of that to say, protein overload is reversible if you clarify your hair. I am also a huge advocate for steaming your hair. That's a great way to lock in the moisture and hydration from all of these great deep conditioners that I'm recommending. So basically, go ahead and wash your hair, squeeze all the dampness out of it with a microfiber towel, anything that is super gentle for sucking the dampness out of your hair, like an old cotton t-shirt will do the trick. But squeeze out that excess water, coat your hair with your favorite deep conditioner, and then wrap it with a plastic bag or saran wrap, and then use either a heat cap or treat yourself to one of those steam things. It looks like a hooded hair dryer, but it's an actual hair steamer. You fill it with water and it just infuses that steam into your hair, locking in all that moisture. It is such a great way to hydrate your hair. You will see an immediate difference in the quality and integrity of your hair. So tip number 5, and I feel this is a really obvious one, use a color preserving shampoo. If you went blonde, make sure that you're using a good purple shampoo to get rid of any brassiness or yellowness. You just want to keep that beautiful, let's say, ashy look, that beautiful silvery blonde that everybody loves. Color preserving shampoos such as these are such a great way to boost the longevity and vibrance of your hair color. So personally, I'm not adventurous with my hair. I'm not that girl who's going to go out and dye her hair a brilliant red or a fantastic blue, purple, pink, you name it. The health of my hair is more important to me than hair trends and fun hair looks. That's just me. I'm not judging anybody who does that. If you do, remember, in order to achieve that color, you have to go through levels. Hairstylists obviously know all about this. Lightening your hair requires bleach. Bleach strips the color out of your hair. In order to achieve these fantastic colorful looks, you have to strip the color out of your hair and redeposit those fun colors into your hair. Bleaching is so harsh on your hair, and then when you layer that on top of relaxers, you know, generally you can kiss your hair goodbye. That's why I highly suggest that you leave it to the experts to do it, because most of them are highly trained, they care about you and your hair, and they obviously don't want bad Google reviews. So they will work hard to make sure that you're happy. I am a huge advocate of semi-permanent color for relaxed hair girls. It is so much less harsh, but the downside is it doesn't last very long whatsoever. So I had semi-permanent color done on my hair 2 months ago, and I noticed that it starts to fade about a month and a half in, and that gets so expensive. I know a lot of us can't necessarily afford to be constantly in the salon getting your hair treated, getting your hair colored. So, you know, semi-permanent hair color doesn't work for everyone. That's why you need to sit down and evaluate what's good for you and your lifestyle. Like I said, it is possible to color your hair. Just because you relax your hair doesn't mean you can't, you know, benefit from fun hair looks. Just realize that going from black to blonde, you're not going to achieve that in one salon visit. You're probably not going to achieve a great hair look doing it yourself with like Blondissima from the drugstore. You know, just be honest with yourself and don't be surprised if you lose all of your hair. I'm here to help you guys pass along tips that I've learned that work really well for me. If you have any tips yourselves that worked for you when you've dyed your hair, when you've color treated your hair, please drop them in the comments. I love to see the discussions, the conversations that happen in my comment section. All of us learn from that. Anyways, I hope that you found this helpful. This subject right here is one of the most requested I get to cover on my YouTube channel. So yeah, keep the hair care YouTube video suggestions coming. I greatly appreciate that. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please give me the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, follow me on my social media channels. A content creator like me cannot survive without your support, so I'm so deeply blessed and grateful to have you here. Anyways, have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah!